They say the darkest hour of the night is just before dawn. But what if I told you the hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are not just empty silence, they are a sacred invitation, a gentle knock from your unconscious mind, a whisper from your soul. And if you choose to listen, these hours can transform your life forever. As listen to your unconscious when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. It is not a coincidence, it is a calling. In the stillness of the night, when the world is silent, your unconscious mind finds its chance to whisper truths that you cannot hear in the noise of the day. During the daytime, your conscious self is busy, caught in routines, responsibilities, and endless distractions. But in the early hours of the morning, when even the air feels sacred, your unconscious rises gently to the surface. This is the time when your body may be at rest, but your inner world is wide awake. It is as if your soul says, "Now that you are free from the noise of others, will you listen to me?" Carl Jung beautifully reminded us that the unconscious, when ignored, becomes the very force that controls our lives. We call it fate, but in reality, it is simply us not paying attention. Waking up in these hours is an invitation to break that pattern. It is your unconscious knocking on your door, saying there is something within you that wants to be acknowledged, something unresolved that longs for your attention. When you choose to listen, you create space for self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of transformation. Listening to your unconscious doesn't mean overthinking or forcing meaning. It means sitting in silence, breathing, and becoming aware of what you feel in that moment. Sometimes it will come as a memory resurfacing, sometimes as a strong emotion, sometimes as a dream that still lingers. These are all messages waiting to be heard. You may notice patterns you ignored, fears you buried, or desires you never admitted to yourself. At 3 a.m., these truths appear not to haunt you but to heal you. Most people dismiss waking up at this time as restlessness, but if you see it as sacred, it becomes a doorway. It is a moment to take a pen and write down your thoughts, to journal what your mind is trying to reveal, or simply to close your eyes and listen to your heartbeat. In that rhythm, you begin to understand what your soul is saying. By giving attention to your unconscious, you begin to bridge the gap between who you are and who you are meant to be. This practice is not about answers but about awareness, and in awareness lies freedom. The truth is, your unconscious does not wake you to disturb your sleep. It wakes you to awaken your life, face your shadow with love. The shadow is the part of ourselves we often deny, suppress, or hide away because we fear it will make us unworthy or unlovable. It carries our insecurities, our anger, our jealousy, and even the wounds we never healed from childhood. Most of us spend our lives trying to silence or avoid it, pretending it does not exist, but the truth is that the shadow never disappears. It waits quietly, and in the silence of the early hours, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., it rises to remind us that ignoring it will not make it go away. This is why these hours are powerful. The masks we wear in the daytime fall off, and we are left with our most authentic selves, raw and unfiltered. Facing your shadow does not mean fighting with yourself or condemning what you find. It means embracing the parts of you that you once abandoned. Imagine sitting across from the version of yourself that has been rejected, wounded, and misunderstood. That is your shadow. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to ask for your compassion. Every fear you have, every reaction you regret, every wound you carry is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that you are human. By facing your shadow with love instead of judgment, you allow healing to begin. At 3 a.m., when the world is silent, your shadow has the courage to knock at your door. It may show up as unsettling emotions, anxiety, or memories that surface suddenly. Instead of running back to sleep or numbing yourself with distractions, this is the moment to sit with those feelings and say, I see you and I am willing to understand you. The simple act of acknowledgement dissolves the shame that feeds the shadow. The love you give to these parts of yourself transforms them from enemies into teachers. When you face your shadow with love, you begin to see that the very things you feared about yourself can become your strengths. Your anger, when understood, can become passion. Your fear, when embraced, can become wisdom. Your wounds, when healed, can become the source of your deepest empathy for others. This is the alchemy of the soul, turning darkness into light, not by rejecting it, but by integrating it. Waking up in these hours is not meant to torment you. It is meant to give you space to embrace what you usually run away from. And in doing so, you find not only healing but wholeness. The shadow is not a curse but an invitation. And love is the only key that unlocks its gift. Decode the language of dreams. Dreams are not random fragments of imagination. They are the language of the unconscious mind, speaking in symbols and metaphors that often bypass the logic of the waking world. When you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the images of your dreams are still vivid, lingering like whispers from another realm. This is not the time to dismiss them as meaningless. It is the time to pay attention, to listen carefully, and to decode the messages that your inner world is trying to communicate. Dreams often reveal what we suppress during the day, what we fear to admit, or what we secretly long for. They carry the essence of archetypes, universal symbols that hold timeless meaning across cultures and generations. In a dream, a bird is never just a bird. A road is never just a road, and a storm is never just a storm. These symbols carry deeper truths. A bird may signify your yearning for freedom, a road may represent the journey you are on, and a storm may reflect the emotional turbulence you are experiencing within. By learning to see beyond the surface, you unlock the hidden wisdom of your unconscious mind. This is why writing down your dreams immediately upon waking can be a powerful practice. In the quiet hours of early morning, with pen in hand, you allow the fading images to capture their voice before they vanish into forgetfulness. Decoding dreams is not about rigid interpretation, but about connecting with your own feelings and associations. What does that place, person, or object mean to you personally? The same dream can hold completely different meanings for different individuals. One person's dream of water may represent peace, while for another it symbolizes fear. Your unconscious speaks in your own unique language, and the more you listen, the clearer it becomes. Dreams are like letters sent by your soul, written in symbols instead of words, and when you begin to read them, you deepen your connection with yourself. These hours are sacred because they offer space to reflect on those messages without distraction. Dreams often reveal the conflicts you deny, the desires you bury, and the truths you overlook. By decoding them, you not only understand yourself better, but also receive guidance on choices you need to make. Your unconscious is wise, but it cannot speak in the direct voice of logic. It speaks in poetry, in images, and in metaphors, and it waits for you to pay attention. When you honor your dreams, you honor the deepest layers of your being, and that awareness becomes a light that guides you forward as walk the path of individuation. Individuation is the journey of becoming whole, the process of uniting who you are on the surface with who you truly are within. It is not about becoming someone new, but about peeling away the layers of expectations, conditioning, and masks until you rediscover the essence that was always there. When you wake between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., you are given a rare opportunity to touch that essence, because in those silent hours you are free from the noise of the outside world. In that stillness, the unconscious rises, and you are invited to align with your true self. The path of individuation is not always easy because it requires honesty. It means acknowledging the parts of yourself you've hidden, the dreams you've postponed, and the truths you've ignored. Most people live divided. On one side, the version of themselves they present to the world, and on the other, the version of themselves they secretly long to embrace. Individuation is the bridge between those two worlds. It is the point where the false self begins to dissolve and the authentic self steps forward. This process often begins in discomfort. The early hours of the morning may wake you not to disturb you, but to remind you that you cannot keep living in fragments. You may feel a sense of restlessness or questioning in those moments, and that is the soul's way of nudging you toward wholeness. Individuation is not about perfection, it is about integration, accepting both the light and the dark within you, and realizing that each has its place in your story. When you stop fighting parts of yourself and begin to unite them, you step into harmony. Walking this path also means listening more deeply to your intuition. The unconscious reveals truths in subtle ways, through dreams, through feelings, through sudden insights that arise in silence. By honoring those signals, you become more aligned with your inner wisdom. Every time you embrace a truth about yourself, you move one step closer to the person you were meant to be. Individuation is not a destination, but a lifelong journey, one that unfolds with patience and courage. The gift of waking in the early hours is that you are offered a window into this journey. It is a sacred reminder that you are not just here to exist but to evolve, not just to wear roles but to embody your essence. Individuation is the art of living as one whole being, no longer torn between what you show and what you hide, but standing fully in the truth of who you are. So, if you ever find yourself awake between 3 and 5, don't just go back to sleep. Instead, wake up to yourself, because sometimes the universe doesn't wake you to disturb your rest. It wakes you to remind you of your purpose.